There are millions of people around the world right now who are thinking of Canada with dreams of a better life. But for some refugees in Canada's biggest city, the reality has been very different than what they expected. They're here, but homeless. So just steps from trendy Toronto restaurants and shops, a makeshift sidewalk shelter has been created, and it's now ballooning in size. Tonight, there are calls for governments of all levels to take action. Political leaders have been caught in a stalemate over who's responsible and who's to blame for a situation that's being called a crisis. Amar Khan has our top story.
Day by day, the refugee encampment site in Toronto's downtown continues to grow. Refugees who fled persecution in a variety of African countries to find shelter and safety in Canada have been without both.
They're already coming from places where they're fleeing trauma, and so we're actually compounding that trauma every minute that we leave people out here.
Since the beginning of June, when the City of Toronto decided to refer refugees to federal programs instead of municipal shelters, saying they were at capacity, the situation has turned more dire. What started off as a few has become dozens, with nearly 50 people now on the streets.
They're always there. We're now just seeing them in one particular location because they know that they can receive some kind of support if they're here.
And support has certainly been plentiful. Thanks to efforts made by Diana Chan McNally and community advocates, they've raised over $50,000 and have food, water, and even tents for some respite. But missing in action is a response from the government.
What we need is shelter, and I believe that the Canadian government can do that, and they are capable of providing shelter for us.
Instead of shelters, temporary or permanent, refugees have been sleeping on the streets, getting soaked by the rain.
Oh my goodness.
Some saying they stay awake throughout the night, standing still, thinking about their reality.
Ever since we're here, sleeping in the rain, most times whenever it rains, the rain will rain on us. So it's really terrible.
As for government officials, they are at odds over cost. The city says it has yet to receive more than $100 million in federal funding to cover shelter costs for refugees, but will also need staff and shelter space. But a spokesperson for Immigration Minister Sean Fraser says that housing asylum seekers is the responsibilities of provinces and municipalities. Chan McNally says it's not uncommon for her to see vulnerable people used as pawns between governments.
We're seeing a stalemate. They don't see this as a blight on our nation, as a blight on all of us as a country.
The different levels of government are expected to meet on Tuesday to continue to work towards a solution.
Hopefully the federal government will actually support the City of Toronto and other municipalities with the funding they promised but did not commit.
Amar Khan, Global News, Toronto.